love it. Love this for us. Hey, friends.
Hi.
We're here once again.
Hello. Oh, yeah, something you're really gonna
It's
love.
like we never left. It's me, Crispy Boy, back at it again with another movie review with Justin and Juan. How are you boys doing tonight?
Hi.
It's 10 p.m.
It is 10 p.m. Jesus Christ, it is.
Do you
10
know where
p.m.
your children are?
I hope I don't because I shouldn't have any.
I hope so. God, I hope so.
Yeah. Well, yours is a little far away.
This silence is great. Love it.
And
You mean that silence that
mine
got cut
should
out?
be inside of me. So I think I know where my kids are.
You're
Whoa.
Okay. I don't know why. It's a little.
It's all right. Moving on from that.
I mean, I don't want
We
to.
watched Die Hard 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Well,
No,
Watch is
you're
a
not.
strong word.
All right, quiet you. we can get to that in a second. Thank you. I'm gonna thank it off the top because I don't think we did this the first time with Die Hard for Easy Life. Thank you to Twiggo for giving us Die Hard 2, the back-to-back fucking memesters, giving us both Die Hards. I say both like there's only two of them. There's like 5 of them. I'm gonna read this here summary before we get on to Juan's last half hour, basically. Man, I cannot believe this. Another movie review, another 2 hours gone. Same shit happening to the same goons twice. It's like we never even stopped rolling on the first movie, and now we're here watching it again, but also not. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you Die Hard, but with a twist. The bad guys aren't foreigners trying to rob $500 million or take down the U.S. government. This time, they're homegrown foreigner sympathizers trying to liberate a political figure from impending detainment on U.S. soil. Who better to take down such elusive and well-trained soldiers than your average everyday New York turned LA cop, John McClane? In a return to the classic Christmas action movie formula, Die Hard 2 showcases just how quickly movie studios are willing to capitalize on overnight success regardless of whether the movie has substance or not. And before you ask, no, Die Hard 2 is not a Christmas movie.
But you know what
Question.
is Christmas related, Christian? In 3 days, we have Christmas Eve. So, you know what? It is Christmas spirit for us, at least.
It is the Christmas spirit for us.
True. Question. Is it Christmas time during this movie? Like, it's snowing, but like, I didn't get the date.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's Christmas Eve. It's Christmas Eve.
I don't know what I could do for some
then
snow
like,
right now.
it's definitely a Christmas movie. What do you want about?
No, it's not a Christmas movie.
It's definitely a Christmas
I-
movie, man.
I didn't see any Christmas in this movie.
Nah, yeah, there was a significant lack of Christmas other than the mention it was Christmas Eve.
Hold on, yeah, I didn't even.
You
I
know,
don't
like
even
the
remember.
first one, we got it's Christmas. I don't even know. I don't remember if it's day or eve in that one, but it's Christmas. It's they're at a Christmas party.
Damn, bro, I didn't even see a tree in this movie. You're right. Shit.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, it's a bad
that's what I'm
sequel.
saying.
It's not a Christmas movie. You had one job. Just
exactly.
That was the whole point. That's what we've been trying to tell you. It's not a Christmas movie.
damn. This movie sucks.
Well, I don't know that I'd go that far, but it's definitely no Die Hard 1.
Clearly.
Tell you that much.
And I watched that movie.
All right. So do you want to talk about what's happened with you? That's it's partially my fault, but then you decided to go with it anyway.
I heard through the grapevine this morning that you guys were recording Die Hard 2. And I was like, oh, cool. That's awesome. I assumed that Brendan was going to be doing this one with you guys because I did number 1 instead of him when I was supposed to do number 2 originally, but I assumed that he was going to be here. Turns out he was supposed to be here, but then also turns out that he's no longer allowed to be here. And instead of Christian letting me know to watch everything, I found out about this like 2 hours ago, which is now in retrospect probably enough time for me to watch the whole movie. But instead, I decided to watch the whole movie within the span of 15 minutes. So I am watching this pretty much it's a 2-hour movie, but I watched a 15-minute summary. So that's what we're going off of.
Nice.
This Twiggo, I'm so sorry.
I'm also sorry because I actually watched this movie, and I'm gonna be real with you. It's only been like maybe an hour since I've technically finished it. I watched it in 2 parts, like first hour and then a second hour of the movie. And I'm gonna be real with you, buddy. I don't remember much in the movie. I remember a lot of snow
That's okay.
and an airplane.
That's okay because we have memory retention.
I think I have the exact opposite of memory retention, but I appreciate it. I think my memory is in detention.
Detention, memory detention. I love it.
Oh, that bars.
So Christian, where are you steering us tonight? Where's the chip? Where's the ship going?
Where's the ship? Where's the chips?
I mean, the ship can go. The airship can go wherever we want it to. But why don't we loosely start at the beginning?
Yes, tell me how
that sounds like
starts.
the most logical course of action, right?
Okay. I'm glad you brought this up.
It's the formula.
The literal very beginning of this movie is a little jarring because Die Hard 1 opens up with kind of like it's like you go through the opening credits, you open up to like whatever the opening scene is, and it's really like mellow, and you're just like kind of panning over to John McClane on his, airplane flight or whatever. Something really just like casual and like benign. Die Hard 2 opens up with bang, Die Hard 2, and then we're just straight into like whatever the scene is, John doing whatever.
And your car's getting towed.
Yeah, like it is in your face. We're in the thick of it. Die Hard 2 starts now. It was a little jarring. I don't know why it stuck out to me so much. Just like you finish the opening credits and then you get the title card and then here's the movie and I'm like, that's different.
No nonsense.
Yeah, really no nonsense.
We're diving straight into the hot-blooded action of Die Hard 2.
Starting with John McClane's mother-in-law's car being towed because John parked it somewhere stupid.
That McClane guy, not the sharpest tool in the shed,
Not the sharpest shed in the tool.
At least not in. All right, well, I don't know. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but at least not in regards to this. In many other ways, John McClane has the eyes of a hawk because part of the opening of him walking through the area that he's in, the airport, is that he just happens to run into the main bad guy, but like 30 minutes before he's actually the bad guy, and he's immediately suspicious for really no reason.
He's a cop. What do you expect? He's got a sixth sense for this thing.
Yeah. He's got to find probable cause in any situation, so he just kind of has an eye out for things.
So he's just always suspicious of people now.
Yeah,
he's looking to stop and frisk anybody and everybody,
that rounds
right?
out most cops I know. They need an escape person to shoot just in case things get hairy.
Jesus Christ. Twigo, I'm really sorry.
What is wrong?
The world is what's wrong, man.
Why do you say the things you do sometimes?
I'll be real. Sometimes I just let things fly just to see how dumb they sound. Sometimes they come out real funny. Sometimes I wish I could take them back.
Maybe you should run these tests, if you will, when there isn't a mic sitting in front of you.
I mean, I do. It doesn't, it just comes to me naturally. Here.
This podcast is still in beta, right? We can just kind of like edit. We can just not. We can just say that this is pre-alpha footage or something, right? Like
this is our alpha test.
This podcast hasn't really released yet, right? Like we can just kind of do. We can fix this.
We're still in early access, so like when you say we're like being bad or whatever, we could be like, well, we weren't really a podcast back then. We were still like testing the waters, working out the bugs.
I've been AFK from Pandaview and all recordings for a while. It's going to take me a minute to fully readjust. Sometimes it's going to be a bit bumpy, as we can see.
It's going to take you a minute to get your brain working.
Yeah.
Look, like you said, it is 10 o'clock. I'm used to recording these bitches at like 7.
You're right. These are the facts.
Yeah.
I'm getting towards unhinged time.
And you didn't even do a recording before this.
No, not at all.
Like we did.
I blame your lack of not enough inappropriate jokes on you guys being brain dead.
My eyes are heavy.
I bet they are. But
knees weak.
Arms are heavy.
My knees are definitely weak.
So back to Die Hard 2. John has this innate sense that there's evil afoot, and so he just kind of picks out two of the goons
Or M&M
with
bars.
presents sitting at just a cafe table in the middle of this really crowded airport. He just goes like, yeah, something about those two just doesn't look right to me. And they've got their presents. They match. He must hate that or something. Didn't like the ribbon on top. I don't know what it was. But he picks out these two guys, instantly recognizes that they're a problem waiting to happen, and ends up in the back area where all the baggage is. And he does, of course, find two different goons setting up shop back there, getting ready for part of the first part rather of their whatever it is they're about to do. And this leads to a grand old shootout, of course, because this is an action movie, and it ends with one of the goons just getting eaten by a luggage claiming machine.
I'm not familiar with the luggage boarding process for planes. I don't know what this machine is and what its purpose is. And I also don't really understand how it killed this guy. I'm going to be real with you. It just kind of looked like a rolling pin that he could have very clearly fit through, and then it killed him.
Yeah. Well, he didn't fit. That was a problem. Then it like crushed his ribcage in.
Interesting. I didn't perceive that.
But then he still didn't go through.
When I watched the scene, I just thought like it was maybe like a really hot piece of metal, and the burn like put him in a shock, or like it rubbed his skin off or something. It was not very clear to me.
The smoke was rising off the machine from him jamming the system with his massive tits.
Where can I get a rack like that?
You gotta start pumping some iron, man, or get enough money for a tit job. One or the other.
You think tit jobs, like boob jobs, got more cost efficient as time went on? Like they're no longer like a luxury item. They're like everyday households,
like middle class item now.
Yeah, like
can the working man just go and get a boob lift?
Yeah, like can I go find a plastic surgeon and make an appointment for Friday and just be like, Doc, I'm trying to bump up to a B cup. Feel me?
I don't have the answers for you, but you should look into that.
You're right. If there's any plastic surgeons listening to this who particularly have a focus in boob jobs and the like, contact us, please. Mostly me.
What if they're listening to this while performing the surgery on somebody?
Then I'm going to say you have, while I respect you listening to something during surgery, because I hear, plenty of doctors and surgeons do that, listening to our podcast, potentially any podcast really, feels a little questionable, but I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Could you imagine like we say something hilarious as we always do and they laugh while like they're like 2 inches deep with the scalpel?
Yeah.
Just go, oops.
Now, all I can think of, I just want someone to make a clip of like a Grey's Anatomy surgery scene. And instead of just being like the music that they play, during their surgery, I just want it to be like some stupid podcast episode that we've recorded in the background. They're in full panic too. It's not even like one of those successful ones. Full panic. Someone's dying on the table, and it's just Devin cracking an inappropriate joke.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Or it's that One Piece episode where Brendan does a chainsaw noise because they're operating on me.
Hold on.
That'd be meta.
Good. This is good. I like this. Hold on.
Project for 3 a.m. Justin.
Yeah. That sounds like a 4 a.m. Justin real project.
Yeah. I'll get working on that.
Anyway, back to Die Hard 2 for the second time. So being the hero, of course, that saved the city from 2 random guys in the luggage area, he's been, for someone who just did such a great service, he's being very harshly mistreated as just some guy and not the hero that he is. He tries to talk some sense into the head mall cop at the airport, and he's having none of it. This guy wants not. He doesn't want to be told how to do his job by the Roy Rogers, John McClane. How did you guys feel about that guy?
We were talking about Vito, right? Who, like, we eventually learned he's the cousin of a guy.
Sure, that was his name.
Vito.
Sure. I think that sounds right.
Vito's a schmuck. I feel like I've met a Vito in my life, like that kind of character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like we've all met a Vito at some point in our life, and those guys, Vitos are schmucks.
Vito didn't appear in my 15-minute synopsis.
Ooh,
You know what? It's better. It's better that way.
you hate to see
The
it.
movie is
But
way better without
technically-
Vito.
My synopsis started with the dude getting eaten by the luggage belt, and then cut to, from what I'm aware, a decent amount further than where we are right now.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw it 30 minutes
cool.
later.
Yeah,
Don't worry, we'll fill you in.
I'll let you know.
Do you
I'll
remember
I'll
where
let you
that
know
30 minutes?
we saw Al.
Yeah,
Then we started.
that's still at the beginning because he runs the prince by him.
Yeah, it was the Al. We started shooting some people. There was the grate, right? That thing. We
You saw the scaffolding.
the scaffolding. We and the dude went and he was dead. Have we gotten to that part yet? No, I'm still ahead of us. So
Well, not quite.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was just curious where your 30 minutes took you from
my 30
from
minutes,
here.
My 30 minutes is going to appear soon. Not right now.
Yeah.
All the important backstory, none of it.
All the important parts, got none of it. The explosions and the fun stuff, got some of it.
I got all 15 minutes of explosions that they spent their budget on. Everything else, if the budget wasn't spent, I didn't see it.
Right. So it's more or less at this point that we're reintroduced to John McClane's wife, who is on this plane coming into LA, and I don't remember if it's ever really explained where she's coming from, nor does it really matter at the end of the day, because what does matter is that she's stuck on this plane with the same stupid ass reporter guy from the first movie, and he's still really we learned he got so, actually it was the other way around, wasn't it? Did she file a restraining order on him, or was it the other way?
He filed it on her.
I think it was the other way, right?
Yeah, he filed it against her.
He got so upset at the punch she threw at him at the end of the first movie that he filed a restraining order that she can't be within 50 yards of him. And now they're stuck on a plane together.
Incredible. Also, I'm glad they pointed out his character, because I looked at that guy and I was like, who are you? And why do you have a restraining order against her? I thought he was going to be like a brand new character who's going to suddenly become relevant or whatever. I was like, what is his plot line?
No, I immediately recognized him as the piece of shit reporter guy from the first movie. And I was like,
Yep. I got this
hate
part.
this.
I saw him, and that part did show. I did see him, and I immediately had a flashback of all the shitty things he did in that movie, and I was like, "Oh, do you finally get shot in the face?"
I could only have dreamed it,
Honestly,
but it doesn't happen.
I have a hot take for when we get toward the end here.
Okay. What we do get out of this whole scenario is Mrs. McClane being just a quippy, no bullshit allowed individual. She, at every given opportunity, roasts the fuck out of this guy, which is great. As she should, for endangering her family like that. Excuse me, I have the burpees. For endangering her family like that on live television, exposing them to potential dangers, and now he has the audacity to file a restraining order because he got punched on live TV. What a bitch.
I also agree.
Fuck this guy.
Also agree.
I think the more interesting part of that airplane introduction personally is I wish I could remember her name. John's wife. She's sitting next to some Holly. Holly's sitting next to some granny in her aisle, and her and Granny struck a conversation. I don't remember about what, but somehow Granny, that's what it was. Holly was just talking to Granny, and she was like, yeah, my husband John is just like living in the 80s still. He hasn't realized it's 1990 and there's like new technology and blah, ball, blah. And Granny's like, yeah, he should level up. I used to carry around mace, but now I got this zappy boy here. Pulls out her taser and just lets the trigger sink down. And I'm looking at Holly's face, and I'm like, she doesn't know if she should love this woman or be deeply terrified.
It's even better what comes immediately after this, because then completely unprompted, not that, I mean, the taser already was completely unprompted, but after that, she makes the comment, she goes, I tried it on my dog.
Oh my God, yes.
He didn't walk right for like a week or something.
God,
I forget what the time frame was. I got all of my respect for that woman immediately went out the window. She went from badass granny to scum of the earth adjacent.
Yeah.
In one line.
What a sequence of events that was. If I wasn't engaged with the movie prior, I was locked in afterward. I was like, huh? I hit the rewind real quick. And I'm like, what'd she say? Did she just? Am I?
Juan, did you get Taser Granny in your 15 minutes?
I did not get Taser Granny in my 15 minutes, and now I have to YouTube this.
Yeah, Taser Granny tases dogs. She's a dog taser.
Well, hold on. I don't want to necessarily label her as a dog taser with in the sense that like it's implied that this is an activity she does regularly and often. It seemed like a one-time thing. I'm not going to call it an accident because it was intentional. I'll call it a clear lapse in judgment that she clearly regrets.
I don't know that she clearly regrets it. I'm not convinced that she is truly remorseful for that action.
I just watched the scene on YouTube. It looks like she looks like she's done this before. She had a little.
Do you think so? She tried the taser on the dog, but she does say she had a different defense mechanism before the taser.
It was mace, right?
Because it was mace. Do you think she maced her dog too at some point
100%.
to test the mace?
This woman has
she
thrown
had to have,
everything
right?
plus the kitchen counter at this dog. But that being said, this dog must be Juggernaut.
Both of you to assume she hasn't run through a couple hounds.
And she keeps buying them. That fucking whoever's selling them must be rich.
Or equally as terrible a person as her.
Definitely that too. But I'm gonna go with her dog is just Juggernaut.
Yeah, that's the timeline that makes me feel better about her.
She's just tasing and macing her dog because her dog is just virtually indestructible and immortal and needs to be stopped. And she's doing us the greater good.
The dog is the real threat here.
This is the new timeline. It's like the dog is it needs to be kept in check, otherwise it'll destroy half the universe.
I'm willing to die by this. That's fine. Nuri, right? So
jumping forward slightly to when we get to important stuff, the bad guys make themselves known. Finally, who would have guessed? It turns out that colonel or whatever guy that we saw at the beginning that John ran into ends up being the bad guy after they all very coordinatedly and entirely unsubtle walk out of their hotel rooms together and then down into the lobby in the same elevator together, carrying the same looking sized shaped gift. And then they take over a church by blasting some poor old man who lives there. What a tragedy.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, truly.
Anyway, it's at this point that the bad guys call up the air traffic control tower, where McClane is just kind of chilling now. Like he just goes there all the time. Apparently he just walked up. He just took the elevator up, no problem.
Yeah, he did that.
There's a lot of instances where it feels like, and this is the first of them, where John just kind of teleports places and for plot reasons, and he's there. It's like he's been there the entire time too.
What if, okay, hear me out. What if,
oh boy, here we go.
What if John McClane is Batman?
Does Batman have teleportation abilities I don't know about?
No, but like he has he could hide his presence, you know what I mean? Like he's got that aura, and the aura is undetected. You know what I'm saying? So like John, like John has many scenes where he's like eventually crawling through like building shafts and tunnels and whatnot, and he also largely goes unperceived in those moments. Very Batman-esque, granted, like budget Batman or Batman without all the techie stuff.
Yeah.
Blah,
he's
blah, blah.
he's going Among Us mode.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. I'm thinking this is Batman, bro, or like Batman, okay. Batman pre-suit. I feel like there's a timeline for that. I forgot what it's called, but
Bruce Wayne.
No.
Yeah, when he's just a rich guy.
No, I was thinking of Batman Year One. I was thinking of Batman Year One.
Rich guy with karate classes.
This is
like at Tiger Schulman's.
Yeah. This is his first year as Batman, but he hasn't gotten the suit yet. You know what I mean?
there's just a bunch of 8-year-olds and then Bruce Wayne, the like 30, 40-year-old dude.
He's currently taking
with
his
a white
test
belt.
for third form to see if he can get his belt placement.
The 8-year-old in front of him breaks 6 boards, no problem. He's like struggling with 3. Starts throwing a fit.
My new favorite.
Alfred has to come over, like pat him on the shoulder.
My new favorite Bruce Wayne canon I've ever heard ever. Okay, keep going.
I'm locked in on like the mental image now too. This is
paralyzing.
I'm just imagining the Batman suit now, but with like a Tiger Schulman's gi over it. Like a bathrobe.
Batman, how'd you get so great? Senpai Daniel taught me.
Sensei
Daniel.
Sensei Daniel-san. Oh God. All right. It's also around this time that once the bad guys start making their moves, that it's time to introduce the Al of this movie, but like 6 times more unhinged, because I'm not convinced Marvin doesn't have blood on his hands also. That dude is crazy.
Marvin. Who's Marvin?
Marvin's the like janitor guy he meets.
Oh,
so
yeah.
There's the point where he's running again, I think, from bad guys, or he's trying to get somewhere where the bad guys are, and he runs through some elevator shafts again, and then for some reason it leads to this just maintenance cube, and he starts snooping around in there, and eventually Marvin sneaks up on him. He almost kills Marvin. And then apparently Marvin is just the Nami of this universe, because he's got 86 maps of the entire airport. And there's one for every possible scenario that John has throughout the movie. Anytime John needs to get somewhere, he goes, gotta go talk to Marvin. He's the map guy. And Marvin has the map in about 2 seconds also, by the way. He looks at his stack and he goes, you're trying to get to the meeting room? It's probably going to be map 82, section B, subsection 7C, clause 8. And like and then John teleports. They give you one scene, maybe 5 to 10 seconds of John running through some air vents, and then he's there. He's going across the airport, mind you, and then he's just there.
Yeah. I've ran across airports and it's still taking me like 45 minutes to an hour. This man army crossed through events and ends up there faster than I could watch this entire movie. And it's baffling.
But the reason he's doing this is because we've failed, and this kind of goes to where your initial 30-minute skip leaves you off with that first shootout when they go to the satellite relay.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the guys pretending to be painters. Mm-hmm. And John just okay. So there are 2 main scenes in this movie that I think are dumb as shit.
Go on.
One of them a lot funnier than the other. This is the less funny one, because in the middle of this shootout, John just kind of flops on the floor and then rolls.
Roll is a strong word. He magic harp flopped. Made 2 rolls, went, Spidey sense, stop rolling and spread your legs and backpedal because I can predict where bullets are going to come from.
Yeah.
It was like he seized on the floor, and it was like one of those moments in like early, like you see in like shooting game compilations, like really early 90s, late 2000s cartoons, where someone would just strike a pose and the bullets would just fucking fly everywhere around them, but hit them like some stormtrooper vision.
Very much so.
It was great.
Great's one word for it.
Definitely. No, that whole thing. Are we talking about that? Or are we getting to it?
Yeah. No, we're here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that whole thing was interesting. First off, I don't know if anyone's ever set up scaffolding, let alone tried to push over scaffolding. Like scaffolding you'd see painters use on the side of a building in like a major urban area. Them things are heavy. Very, very heavy. And he managed to tip one over after Spidey sensing bullets that were coming from above him and not even in front of him. What is this dude bench? Like that.
Fine. He benches whatever Roy Rogers does.
Apparently, Devin, Justin was trying to make a point prior where he, like earlier, and he was like, "Oh, he didn't tip it over. He just kind of like wobbled it back and forth." I was like, "I don't think you understand how heavy those things are. You can't just wobble them back and forth. You pushed it over. He pushed it over, and then it split a dude in half.
Oh, that guy's fine.
It did kind of do that.
Justin was also like, he didn't split him in half. No, if you watch it, it splits him in half. Just like he's okay. I was like, you can literally see in the video, like when it hits him when he's on the ground, his body caves, and you can see this like the painter's onesie get like split, and you can also see like blood underneath him.
I
the fucking thing
definitely saw
split him in
it
half.
fall on him, and I was just kind of like, oh, it like crushed his collarbone. But other than that, he's fine, right?
No, that didn't even land on his collarbone. It landed on his torso, like hit hip line. It split this man in half. It was a Death Central kill counts video. That man was cut in half. That was the other thing I've noticed with this movie. If at this point going for farther, it immediately started with the dude getting eaten by baggage claim. But I was like, you know what? Maybe that was just a coincidence. Once I saw this man got split in half, it's when it hit me, the rest of the kills for this movie are going to be decently graphic if they give the chance. And though it wasn't graphic, they were definitely pretty wild kills from the rest of this movie from this point forward. This one definitely being like the one that really the dude dying in the luggage belt was like, wow, that was interesting. But this guy getting split in half was when my brain made the connection. I was like, oh, we're gonna have kill count moments, aren't we?
Yes, we are transforming slowly but surely into more action movie.
Duke Nukem movie
action. Yes, just violence for the sake of violence at that point.
Innovators for their time.
Innovator. I mean, you're not wrong. Especially the first Die Hard was very instrumental in the development of what current action movie formula is like, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that certain franchises have kind of bastardized it and ruined it for the rest of us. But I digress. Back for the third time to what's this movie called again? Die Hard 2, that one, man, that 1045 is really hitting right now.
Yeah, same actually.
So we head up for a little bit back to the radio, back to the not the radio, the
Control tower?
News reporter guy.
Oh, never mind.
Well, I was gonna say just briefly, the news reporter guy gets a hold of his friend who's still in a first class seat.
Mm-hmm.
And is like, yo, you still got the stuff on you? And his friend's like, of course I got the stuff on.
I wouldn't trust my professional gear in the undercarriage of this
some
plane.
Schmuck's gonna throw the baggage in the literally pitch my baggage into the hold and break all my shit. They're not going anywhere near it. Fuck that. And so he's got a radio, and again, like the first movie, just fucking everybody knows and has instant access to like the emergency level lines for these communication networks. He just finds the frequency that has the outer flying ring tone for the plane, and so can just kind of like he can't get into the direct line, but he can get into this other thing that becomes equally as important later on. And I just can't. I hope I don't watch the next movie in the series. But if I do end up there, I hope this reporter guy isn't like a part of the equation anymore.
I hope he's the main
for
villain.
what he also does later on. Also, I would hate that.
He better be the main villain, and we're just trying to fucking we're just trying to find him and kill him or something. He becomes the Joker or something.
Well,
he just kidnaps Holly.
Maybe you're buying me in now.
He kidnaps Holly because he's like, I'm tired of you embarrassing me in my line of work. And he's kidnapped Holly, and he plans on doing something evil and nefarious. And it's up to John McClane, former LAPD. Now they're gonna move to Ohio.
No.
So it's going to be Cleveland police. So he's going to be Cleveland police officer John McClane goes on the hunt for whatever this newscaster guy's name is to save his wife Holly. And that's Die Hard 3 in its basic premise.
Yeah, it's like they moved to Ohio because like nothing bad ever happens in Ohio. Nothing ever in general happens in Ohio. Ohio barely exists in the first place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's Everyone knows this. So for all of John's goodwill and attempts, he fails to save this plane that the bad guys are sending hurtling down to Earth because the good guys were told not to try and fix their situation, and then they did anyway because that's how movie go. That's how movie brain. And John's actually really torn up about this. Actually, for like all of 2 minutes, but he's still pretty upset by this, actually.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting Michael Bay to make an appearance anywhere on this movie's production.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you were wrong.
Yeah, they
you were super wrong.
Blew up a whole airplane, and it was kind of cool. Just a little bit, just a little cool.
One of many explosions. One of many plane explosions.
I
Actually,
wonder, do you think they blew up an actual plane for that?
I thought they would. I kind of wish that I wish it was true. There's no shot. They made like a replica.
If they blew up a plane for this, I'll be really disappointed if they didn't follow trend for the rest of the plane explosions that come in this movie. Every plane must explode if one plane explodes.
blow them all up. It's a BOGO sale. Blow one, get one free. That sounded awful. Dylan, cut that.
Keep it.
Dylan, please.
Keep all the cringe. Full unedited. Awkward silences and all.
Not even a little bit. So eventually, speaking of planes and explosions, we end up on the military plane that's bringing the totally not Castro Spanish guy to America. And I love that we just cut to him choking out the poor kid in the back. Don't know how we got here, but we're here now, and then we're past it. Like he kills that kid real good, and then he hijacks the plane, and for some reason also knows how to fly planes.
He's a very skilled member of the... Did they ever name where he was from?
I want to say yes, but I don't remember.
You, but I also don't remember.
You know, you say that this is surprising that he can do all these things, but our boy Roy here, John, can do all the same things, and he's just, and I quote, a cop.
Yeah.
So the military dude, the trained military dude's doing it. Surprising. John doing any of the things that he has done, not that surprising.
No, that's what cops learn.
Oh yeah. Definitely. I got beef with a lot of my cop friends. That's what I have. I'm taking all of them on a workout. I'm trying to see how many of them can run, dive, roll, and perform the stunts that John can do.
Yeah, do a split, run around barefoot if you want to make him go first movie mode.
Oh yeah.
Have him walk on glass Legos. The whole 9 yards. So okay, then the next part comes where I have again 2 problems. One from earlier when I said there's 2 problems, and then another one that I spoke briefly to Justin about before the recording. So this is another instant, of course, of John teleporting through the duct system. And he ends up having to climb this ladder, right? And there's a grate at the top with a lock on it. Shoots the lock, not a problem. Starts lifting it, realizes he's directly in the path of the military plane that not Castro is landing.
Yes.
So he, instead of going, okay, it's about to hit me, let me just go back down 6 inches into the pit and let it just roll over. No, this is not the thought process John has. John decides that the best course of action is to painfully struggle to open the gate just enough to then have to roll out of the way of the whole airplane coming at him to land.
I rarely ever have like a strong of a reaction that I did watching this and watching John struggle to save himself. I literally was watching the movie. Christian was with me at the time, and I said, John, just surely you can climb back down the ladder you just came up or whatever. Like,
just duck down.
Yeah, just duck
it's
down, bro.
Super easy.
You could try again in like 2 seconds. Just let the plane pass.
But then we get to the good part that I think is like it's like kind of bad, but like in a hilarious way. When John is stuck in the cockpit of the plane and like 4 bad guys are shooting in, blowing the windows out, and like trying to, I don't know, they're trying to like Call of Duty logic, where if they just light the thing up enough, the its health bar will drop and it'll explode or something. I don't know what the thought process here is. But eventually, they remember they have grenades, and like not just like 2 or 3, like 26. They've each got like 4 grenades, right? And they throw all of them into the cockpit, and then John just goes for a ride.
He did. That scene is the reason they had to put dedicated budget to like some small minimal CGI for this movie, because he gets in the pilot seat that just has an eject mechanism for whatever reason, and he manages to,
like most planes have,
allegedly, he manages
military anyway.
He manages to barely escape the grenade buffet below him, and you just get this panel or the scene of John ejecting from a plane, hits like the peak of his momentum, and then just kind of falls back down in the chair. I was maybe paying attention. I didn't see a parachute go off for that escape pod or whatever.
No, there was a parachute.
Okay, just had to be sure.
Yeah. No, he lands with a parachute, and the bad guys are really about to kill him. But then airport security starts rolling up, and they're like, "We'll get you next time, Batman." And then they drive off in their Jeep.
Yeah, that
I just love the way that scene is animated. Like he's bug-eyed in the cockpit, like, oh God, oh, what am I gonna do? And then he ends up in the seat. He's like, all right, I'll eject. And then you eject, and you get that overhead shot of him just emerging from the plume of fire. Ah! And then his face is taking up the entire camera. Ah! And he falls back down to earth, but also parachute. It's so goofy and like doesn't feel like it belongs in this movie, but I'm glad it does, because it ends up being like one of the better parts of it.
Interesting.
I don't know. Do either of you have like a favorite scene out of this movie?
Okay. I'm not gonna call this my favorite scene, but when the bad guys are like leaving the church, they're abandoning their scene, and they bust out the snowmobiles, I couldn't help but have a massive flashback to God, I can't remember the name of this film, and I feel really bad about it. Remember that time we went to the movies and we saw that like not parody movie, but like a campy movie where it was about Santa Claus, but he's like a hardened murderer trying to defend a girl on Christmas Eve. Do you remember this movie?
Oh, yes, of course I do.
I wish I could remember the name of it. But there's a scene in that movie where a military-ish group shows up on snowmobiles dressed in white, and they also have a chase scene on these snowmobiles, and I'm suddenly thinking, does this movie just rip off Die Hard in like very explicit ways?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, that I never. Oh, Violent Night. That's what it was.
That's what it was. Violent Night. Great movie, by the way. Like, unironically, pretty good. Campy, but good.
Yes, I agree. Go watch Violent Night. Maybe one of my new favorite Christmas movies.
Facts.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. I wouldn't be surprised if years later this movie was utilizing Die Hard 2.
Insane. That scene 100%
the future
stuck out
is
to
now.
me. Yeah, I don't know why that was like the most random like memory I dragged from the depths of my memory bank or whatever, but it stuck out to me.
No, that's great. We should watch Violent Night in the Discord one day.
Hell yeah. That sounds
yes,
awesome.
I 100% agree. That'd be great.
What about you, Juan? I know you've only seen about 15 minutes of this movie, but of the 15 minutes, do you have like something that stood out enough?
Yeah. It's all the Michael Bay fun stuff for the most part. Realistically, after that first plane incident, that was really corny, and I just didn't like the way it panned out. Second plane incident was absolutely hysterical. 100% agree that the second plane experience was so much better.
Let's go.
You know what? Let me rephrase that. If I have to nitpick at least one thing, The second plane incident was easily the biggest moment that I can point at in this movie where the villains have stormtrooper vision. Their plan was to lock him in the front of the plane because it's a small area that they can't miss, to proceed to light up the front of the plane with all of their bullets, and they missed every single fucking one of them. Every last one of them.
Yeah.
And then they threw 9 grenades, if I can count correctly, because they had 3 each, and there's 3 of them.
I can't believe you were
That's
counting.
9 grenades. They threw 9 grenades in there, one at a time, mind you. So the first nitpick I had was, first off, y'all can't hit this man with a full clip of bullets in a small room. But every single one of you can throw 9 grenades into a small little cockpit hole, right? One at a time. So I got questions about your aim. Second off, how overcooked are those grenades where you had time to throw 9 grenades, not at the same time, all separately? So one at a time, you all threw 9 grenades, 3 each, and then it blew up. How long did those grenades cook for? For the longest.
Yeah. John has time to like look around, realize there are a bunch of grenades hitting the floor next to his face.
Put on a seatbelt.
Yeah, put on a seatbelt. Like, call his wife, make sure she's doing all right. Write a paper about it. He spends so long in there without being blown to high hell. I was like, then you get the cool explosion of him getting absolutely blasted out of nowhere. I did think it was pretty cool because at one point you see him falling with a parachute, and the guys go, "Oh, he's a lucky bastard." And I wanted to get on their ass, and I'd be like, "Dude, he's falling from the sky. You're not gonna try to stormtrooper vision and shoot him in the sky." Then I remembered they can't. They use all their bullets already. So I was like, okay, cool. I guess that makes sense that they can do nothing but just let him fall away. Him blowing up on the snowmobile was a bit random. I don't know why that was necessary. It was just on a snowmobile and they made it explode just because they could. Movie.
But yeah, I was just okay. They saw it happen. I was like, okay, like poof, and I was like, okay, I don't know what this is for. Landing a helicopter on an airplane was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. It was completely ridiculous, really cool. But this part then feeds into, why does John know how to do certain things? He's a cop. He took off his jacket and jammed into an airplane vent.
Wow.
Yeah, he does do that.
He knew where the brake fluid was while falling from the plane.
All right. Well, it wasn't brake fluid. It was literally like the fuel input.
Yeah,
but you can
rather it was the fuel dump, really.
Still, how does he know that? Why do you know that?
Well, okay, I don't think he doesn't know that. He discovers that part of the plane right after he's, very luckily, mind you, killed that black military guy.
He did not look like he had trouble with him.
He did not look like he had trouble with him.
This man washed him. and then had a conscious moment as this man was about to get sucked through a plane, fucking Syndrome style. All right, he was about to he was like, man, am I really gonna do this? And he was like, yeah, fucking, just fucking. The dude just got sucked through.
Yep,
like Syndrome from Incredibles.
But then as he's like looking over the part of the wing so he can see into the engine to look at his master craftsmanship of blood splatter from this guy across the plane. The fuel dump is just kind of there. Like you see him look at the fuel dump and he sees it and we acknowledge it. We flash between them a couple times. They lock eyes. It's really romantic. And so you're like, okay, it's them. It's the movie directors deciding they want the movie to end finally by just having John find the thing.
And then him letting it one more, what was it? What's his fucking his signature line? Yippee-ki-yay?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
We get one more yippee-ki-yay. Then we get the honestly, watching the Trail of Fire did have me on my seat a little bit. For 30 seconds I got to watch it. It was pretty cool. The Trail of Fire. I thought the second that plane took off, I thought for a second that trail was going to stop. It didn't. That's definitely not how fire works, by the way.
Slowest moving fire I've ever seen.
But it did. And then we get plane explosion, number 3? 3 planes exploding in a single movie, I believe it was.
Yes, I think that sounds right.
3 planes
That does-
exploding in a single movie. We have more plane explosions than the Transformers movie.
Well, that's probably not true. There are a lot of plane Transformers that die.
Yes, but not 3 in a single movie.
Yeah, you're probably right. I can't tell you. I had to pause the movie when I started to realize what his plan was for the fuel dump.
Yes.
And then he does it. And I like really had to sit there and be like, did they just have fire travel down a gasoline line pathway in like 0.2 seconds? It just
Absolutely
goes,
insane.
man.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm pretty sure it can happen, but I think the fuel has to be far more flammable than gasoline. And if that's the case, it's almost instantaneous. But so I don't know like what you would need in real life to make a fire. Like one, travel the distance that it made, the distance that it was traveled, but also the speed that it was traveled at.
Must be jet fuel.
Could be. I don't know. Does anyone have any jet fuel that we can possibly use to ignite a plane in mid-flight?
Yeah, let me get right on that, and then we can, if we have it by the 4th of July, we can make the festivities just that much better.
That would be so much cooler than a stick of dynamite.
just a small gallon of jet fuel.
Just a small act of terror.
Juan, where'd you get that from?
Red.
I was gonna say George Bush, but that works too, I guess.
Yeah, too.
But I feel like that's good, right? I feel like we've covered most of the story beats here. Other than the idea, I think we've kind of loosely skipped over the part where the military guys that show up earlier in the movie to help. Yeah, it turns out they're on the bad guy side the entire time. I did kind of enjoy the little kind of fake out with the blanks as opposed to the real bullets.
Mm-hmm.
And I did question, because they have that scene where one of them alerts everybody else in the church, and he's like, "Oh, they're here. The military's here, or whoever, whatever branch they actually were." And then they switch mags, and at first I'm like, "What? Why are they doing that? What purpose could this serve?" And then it turns out to be the blanks thing. But I hate the way that John displayed the blanks thing. Did you get this in your 15 minutes, Juan?
Yes, vaguely.
So for the listeners who haven't watched the movie for some reason, I mean, go watch the movie. But in case you don't fall into that category, he gets into another argument with Chief Mall Cop, and he decides that in order to show him that the guns were loaded with blanks, he's just gonna pretend he's angry enough to kill Chief Mall Cop. And then it's loaded with blanks. And I just can't help but feel like maybe it's a product of its time, because if someone tried to pull that now, they'd have been dead before they walked in the door.
Yeah, they would.
Maybe it's just a little too much plot armor, but still.
With all this being said and done, and now seeing the first, kind of seeing the second, I want to go off and make a prediction. I think that if we do the rest of these Die Hard movies, which I really hope we fucking don't.
I hope not.
I have a feeling the plot is going to become less and less important, and the budget on explosions and how many planes we can blow up in a single movie will go significantly through the roof.
Yes. From my loose understanding of the series of movies, there's 5 of them. I think generally everybody loves the first one. The second one, people are a little more wishy-washy on, and 3, 4, 5, I think people tend to just kind of disregard and say they're garbage.
Well, I'm willing to break the meta. I think they're all garbage.
Right. I think the first one is a good movie. This one, not a good movie. It's like fine. It's serviceable as a sequel to the first one. It just sort of starts. It's like it gets Fast and Furious,
mm-hmm.
where things are just starting to get more and more outrageous. Even with this, like, we went from stopping a robbery to stopping political extremist groups from rescuing their leader from a military transport plane. What are you talking about? And then the same guy's in the same situation again, where he's like, his wife's in danger. He's the only one who can stop it and do things. We got to get a better formula here.
If this is how we train cops, why aren't more cops helping them? Because apparently one cop is a super soldier. Two cops have to be. Where's Dwayne Johnson? Huh?
No, keep him away from my movies.
Where's Vin Diesel? I need Vin Diesel in here.
I don't want these people in my movies anymore. Especially Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Maybe if we just have Vin Diesel, just two cops, we'd have double the killing.
Oh, you know what? I totally forgot. So I don't know if it's maybe it's weird to call it like the best killing, but the most unique one in the movie, I think, comes when McClane discovers the church with that like computer tech black guy, and he has to fight the guy outside, and he ends up killing him with an icicle.
Oh, that scene was BS. That scene was so BS. But you know what? You just reminded me of a scene.
Remember how I said the kills are going to be progressively more like dramatic as we went through? Yeah.
Yeah.
You just reminded me of a scene.
Yeah.
I think this is back on the runway where they're picking up their Cuban-coded friend. There's like a small shootout between John and these like 5 goons in the Jeep. And John manages to like shoot and presumably kill one of the guys. The way this kid dies was so funny. I bursted out laughing. He gets shot. And typical, because you see in this movie in particular, typical trope of like, oh, I got shot is the bullet will like send you flying like 30 yards back, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This kid got shot. He got like a boner or something and went, oh, collapsed and was like super stiff. Like rigor mortis took in immediately. My dude couldn't he couldn't relax his elbow in his left arm. I found it so funny. I was like, why he do that?
He got
like
KO'd.
my man got stiffy immediately.
In more way than one.
When the rigor mortis takes a hold of you.
Yep.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Super
I
effective.
hate to see it. Are there any last comments from you two about Die Hard 2?
This movie sucked.
I'm not gonna say it sucked. It was mostly enjoyable. I will say once again, like I did in the first one, these movies feel like they're 30 minutes too long. Like hour and a half.
I feel
seems
that
perfect.
more in this one than the first one.
Hour and a half feels perfect. 2 hours, bro. What are we doing? Come on.
Yeah, like the first one we shave off a half hour feels like much. We shave off like 15 minutes maybe, and I'm good there. This one, cut it down to an hour and a half, no problem.
That's all I got.
All right.
Yeah.
If there are no further questions, I will move us on to the next segment where you guys try to guess the budget for this film.
Okay, it's got to be massive. Like you have to adjust for inflation in
It's
2
gonna be
years.
huge.
It's the 90s. They had to use more effects. Okay.
I want to refresh your memory
Please
quickly so you have more of a frame of reference. The first movie cost them $28 million to make,
which is insanely low. Like boggles my mind low. I'm gonna go with
Is it
50
28
million.
million? I'm gonna say
I didn't catch what you said. Sorry.
You said
what did
28 million was the first one, right?
That is correct. But what was Justin's guess? I missed
said
it.
50.
Yeah, 50 million.
50, okay.
I'm gonna go with 50 million.
I'm gonna
Got it.
say 120.
Whoa. Justin
Yeah.
got closest, but he was off by 20 million. This movie cost them $70 million more or less to make. So they didn't quite make over the 100 mil mark. I think they probably do that in like the last movie, if I had to guess. I don't actually know the numbers, but I imagine they probably just kept inviting Michael Bay back to keep blowing up airplanes they had lying around. So now, how much money do we think this made? And again, as a refresher, Die Hard 1 ended up grossing about $144 million.
You said 144 million dollars?
Yep.
180?
Respectable guess.
I'm going to take Juan's previous guess of 120 million.
You guys have undershot it.
Really?
Did you by a lot, especially Justin.
Ooh.
This movie grossed $240 million.
Wow. My second guess is 150 and I'm still off.
This movie was a rousing success.
Wow.
It made about almost double, but I when you compare it to the budget, technically the first one did better. It made like 600% of the budget became gross. This is more like 4, 3.5, 3.5. Yeah, like 3.5, 350%. That's what I'm looking for. Brain no work, no goo. Yeah, much better opening weekend, by the way, on Die Hard 2. People remembered that this movie existed. It had more than 13 theaters this time.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't look up any exact numbers, but the opening weekend here was $28 million. Or excuse me, 21.8 is what I meant to say. 21.8 million. Made almost the entire budget of the first one in the first weekend here. All right, well, thank you for playing game number 1. Game number 2, where I've scoured endlessly for 15 minutes Letterboxd for the best possible reviews for you guys for Die Hard 2. And last time we did pretty good. I think you both had one correct guess last time, although Justin kind of brute forced it by just guessing like 3.5 stars every time.
He definitely
but
did.
A win's a win. So on to the first review. This is, again, I'm going to lead off with the most liked review on Letterboxd for the movie. Is it just me, or is Die Hard like a more adult version of the Home Alone franchise?
110%.
Oh, that's so good. I love that. Yes, 100% agree.
This is a 5.
I'll go with the solid 4.
Okay. Starting off strong for Justin.
Let's go, baby.
That's a 4-star review. This person has good taste.
I agree.
Mostly.
They got good
I hope
observations.
they didn't. If they stopped here with Die Hard anyway, they did themselves a service. And then being fans of the Home Alone franchise, I mean, come on, it's Home Alone. Home Alone 1 and 2 are also some of the best. Now, that's a series that did their sequel correctly. Home Alone 2, so good. Maybe we'll watch Home Alone. Maybe you think they'll let us watch like Home Alone 1 and 2? I mean, it'll be past the holidays in January when we watch our next set of movies. But you think they'd do that for us?
Oh, yeah.
I can dream. On to the next one. A movie so ludicrous on its face that the main character has to make a joke about how implausible it is that he might wind up in the middle of another massive hostage situation with his wife's life on the line again, no less. And you know what? He kind of gets away with it. I mean, John McClane should never be in a snowmobile chase under any circumstances, but it is always and will always be fun watching John McClane tell off pompous bureaucrats. Also, someone tell me where to get John McClane's shawl collar sweater. I want one. I want one.
I'll give it a 3.5.
4.5?
I can't believe what I just heard. Holy shit, Justin's 2 for 2.
No shot.
That's a 3.5-star review.
Let's go.
Yo, Justin's dialed in tonight.
My brain is so turned off, bro. There's not a
Maybe
thought
that's what you
behind
needed
these
all
heavy
along.
eyes, man.
That's all you needed.
I
apparently.
got vibes.
Wow. All right, let's see if we can get this one. This one doesn't get this one. You don't get a lot of context to really kind of judge where their star count might be. So the review is John McClane on a John McPlane.
Oh,
That's it. It's the whole review.
What a McRib. That's
yeah.
4.5.
I'm feeling 4 again.
Well, the streak had to end sometime.
I knew it.
It was a valiant effort. Despite the amazing play on words, this is a mere 2.5-star review.
that's fucked up.
I got baited.
Yeah. That's how it goes sometimes.
That's how it should go most of the time. Half these reviewers put amazing, like, passionate, thought-provoking reviews.
Passionate, thought-provoking
and then
reviews.
I either give it a 2.
Yeah.
Or they say
when he said John McClane,
on a
really
crane
resonated
or whatever,
with me.
and they give it a 5. So like the world is backwards.
Yeah.
Time is fake. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Speaking of time, this film was of a better time when the elderly were able to bring a taser on a plane. I miss those days.
This reminds me of when I said I want to bring a quarter stick of dynamite on a plane and see what happens.
I please do not. I would like you to not.
4 stars.
3.5.
Falling back on the old 3.5. Huh?
Oh, reliable.
Well, it's failed you this time.
Damn.
This was an astounding 5-star review.
There's no shot, bro.
They really nostalgic for the old days where you could get away with anything on a plane, apparently, which is kind of true. Fun fact, only several months before 9/11 happened.
Oh my God.
I was on a plane that was still sitting in the not hangar, but like at the Bay Area where you board for whatever reason. I want to say there was inclement weather grounding us. Anyway, for whatever the reason was, my dad took me to the cockpit of the plane. It was just open.
Bro, what?
Like they were just, the door was just open. If I'm remembering the story correctly, the door was just open and you could just kind of like go over and say what's up to the pilot and co-pilot. And so we left my mother alone with my infant sister to deal with the crying baby on her own while we go and become homies with the pilots.
I've done this before as well, but I was like 6, and it was because me and my dad were going to South America. It was just me and my dad. And same concept. It was like a small plane.
Yeah, these are just things you could do back then before a couple angry people hijacked some planes, you know?
Yeah, I kind of remember this shit. It's weird. Yeah, when I was like 6, we went to like South America. I can't remember what country we went to. I think it was like El Salvador or some shit. And we were flying like right in the front of the plane. It was like a bad storm or some shit. We landed, and I don't remember. I think we were like the first ones to get out. And like fucking, I think I was like crying or some shit. And the flight attendant was like, "Would you like to see the captain?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Here, come meet him." And I was like, "Okay."
Did they give you, so the pilots that I met with that day, they gave me a little, I think it was United flight. I feel like I vaguely remember that. They gave me a little like plastic pin that was essentially like something that they would pin to their jackets and stuff. Like it had the wings and stuff, and it was like a United logo.
My dude did not give me anything that cool. He was also like not from an American airline. He was once we landed in insert bigger airport here. He flew us in a smaller airplane to a smaller city.
All right, let's wrap this puppy up. I've got one last review for you guys. One last shot at redemption. I need a Mythbusters episode breaking down the possibility of the fire following that plane into the air.
Absolutely.
And I couldn't agree more.
Does this person love or hate this?
4.5.
I'm going 2.5.
You know, for someone who dislikes the movie, you have a lot of faith in other people's reviews of this movie, Juan.
Yeah.
I find that interesting.
Because in my brain, I'm like, what would people... Because I'm also not thinking about it as like, hey, some dude from like 2020, 2021, 2019 is writing a review about these things. I'm thinking about some dude who watched it in 1990 writing a review about these things. Which explains why my reviews are always off, because I'm thinking about it as someone in that time frame who watched the movie and immediately wrote a review, and that's what you're bringing to the table. And it's probably not the case. So yeah, 4.5.
I mean, some of these reviews are more recent. Like the number one liked one is only from 3 years ago. Letterboxd didn't exist back in 1990.
What a shame.
So these reviews, I think it looks like, I'm like lightly scrolling through some of them. The earliest one I can tell is 2013. Anyway, this was a 3-star review. Justin was close. I think you said 2. Did you say 2.5?
Yeah, 2.5.
Yeah. Close, but no cigar. 3 stars. But with that, I have nothing left in the tank, in the brain of this movie to speak of.
So what do we do now?
So I don't know. I mean, I didn't think we'd even get this far, to be honest.
Same. I've been asleep for half of this movie. Or I mean, both. Yes. Whatever.
Well, yeah. I mean, we know that. You told us about that in the first movie.
Time is fake.
Time is not real.
Time is not real. Never has been. Never will be.
Nope.
Okay.
Well, since you seem to be half asleep, and I don't trust Juan to do it either. Thank you for listening to this episode of Panda View.
I don't even know the closing line. That's not fair.
Exactly.
It's, you know, even if you did, you'd speed run it in like 20 seconds like you did Die Hard 2.
I could do it in another language as well. It's not even written
Thank you.
anywhere.
No, that's because we like making people do it off the top of the dome.
Oh,
it's funnier that
we
way.
have to fucking
leads
practice this now?
to Devin flubbing it every time.
I'm
It's
about to
great.
practice this now.
Yeah. You can catch us on Instagram and Twitter, social media things at Panda Sightings. You can send us emails at pandasightings@gmail.com. Feel free to email us your own opinion. Tell us about Juan's animalistic behavior for watching this movie in 15 minutes. You can be like Twiggo, who once again is the person who has assigned us Die Hard 2 this month. You can be just like him and go to our Patreon and give us money if you so choose. I'm not here to force you, but if you did, you'd be pretty cool. Not gonna lie. If you'd like to join a bunch of other like-minded people, though, to talk about not only movies, but One Piece, which is our main podcast, One Piece with a Lime. If you made it here without finding One Piece with a Lime somehow, I commend you, honestly. But that's in the link tree down below and or on our social medias. And that's it, I think. Probably. I don't know. This is usually Devin's part. Say goodbye to the nice people.
Peace out, guys. Thank you so much for
Yippee-ki-yay.
listening.
I don't know what he just said.
I said thank you all
but
for
I'm gonna
listening.
Oh, that was a lot sweeter than I figured it was.
Yeah. Also, go fuck yourselves. Bye.
There it is. That's what I thought.
Nice.